Hello and welcome to Talking at a Slot, and in particular the 2024 World Cup of Slot. We're having a tournament, a knockout tournament, or a bracket if you like, where we're pitting the main slot car brands, 16 in total, against each other in a knockout tournament to see who is the best. So far we've had 4 matches. We're about to do the second batch of 4, and so the winners of these games will go into the quarterfinals against already known competition. So for this one, which is between NSR and Carrera, and the winner will face Slotted Polycar in a quarter-final. So, NSR Carrera. Where do you want to start? Where do you want to start?
I keep hearing. I was thinking about this match after you did the draw, and all I can think about is those magnificent men in their flying machines. The 1960s movie, in which many nationalities joined to attempt to fly across the English Channel in the pre-First World War era. And the German team is led by Gerd Fröbe, the actor best known as Goldfinger, but he plays Colonel Manfred von Holstein, who continually has his own. He does his own way. There is nothing a German officer cannot do without a book of instructions. He's never flown an aeroplane before, but he has the book of instructions. And he walks around the place going... That is the Carrera slot racing experience to me. There is nothing you cannot do without the book of instructions. And the cars go around at a very stately pace, and they're sort of going... And it's like... You cannot... It's just the embodiment of all things Germanic. It's over-engineered. It's very heavy. It's not as lively as you'd like it to be. It's sort of, this is the way we do it. This is the correct way. And then you've got NSR, which is slightly mad and off the wall, an Italian, which was, again, I have to say, like the losers so far in these contests, was the vision of a diehard slot racer, the late and much missed Salvatore, who produced, I think it was, he built the Mosler, didn't he? And, there are slot cars throughout history. Back into the 60s, my former father-in-law type person campaigned a Bentley that he'd cut down and said that it was this very slinky Lagonda, and sort of was, he made it beautifully. It did look very much like this low-line 1930s Lagonda. But obviously it then completely hammered everything that was turning out in the same class. And Ernie did the same thing. He made the Mosler, which is, not a very recognisable GT car. It didn't do very much in the real world, but you could slotify the bejesus out of it. And guess what happened? He won everything. So he put this car on sale, effectively. And it was, overly wide, overly low, all over the place. But the engineering was exquisite. And soft detail, but detail didn't matter because everything was built to win. This is ready to win. And whenever we talked about his cars on Slot Forum back at the time, he'd reply to every single sort of slight criticism in capital letters, very Italian style, going, "It's ready to win. That's all that matters. Ready to win." And he was a big loss to the hobby and big loss to the forums because he was always on all of them, justifying the fact that it was all about performance. So I sort of love that about them, but I don't like the products that much. I always feel a little bit dirty if I race an NSR car.
Why?
Because it's just not the sort of thing that I generally approve of. The detail isn't great. The body shape is slotified so that it's performance orientated. It's not racing a 1/32 scale model of a specific type of car or a specific car. It is racing the fastest slot car you can in the category, which makes me feel a bit dirty.
So it's as is coming clear in this competition. There's two different philosophies at work. So slot car, a small world disunited by a myriad of different philosophies. So you have on the one hand Carrera, one of arguably only two, but let's say three big home set brands, the kind of toy brand, the thing that gets people into the hobby in the first place. A behemoth, technically Austrian. I always thought they were German, but technically they're Austrian. And obviously, they created their own, having really started on 24th, so they made that big wide track. And then when they had what they call evolution, down the smaller cars, 132, the track was suddenly nice and wide, which was for a while a big advantage, because Scalextric's track's pretty narrow if you don't put borders on it. And it was robust and didn't rust and all that good stuff. It was very Germanic. It was well engineered. And I think the great thing about Carrera, from my point of view, is they make lots of things. So there's Formula One cars. There's not many rally cars these days, but there's lots of GTs, road cars, quirky fantasy trucks, Mario Brothers sets. They kind of do the whole thing. And you know what you're going to get. Every Carrera I've ever had, he says, you take it out the box, having strained your fingers to undo the screw, which could hold up an aeroplane probably. And it goes, the axles are always round, the tyres are always round. Tyres have been a bit trouble. But we always used to see, and even with the classic American stuff that's a little bit old now, which didn't handle terribly well, or even the Mille Miglia stuff, but at least they were making those cars. No one else was at the time. But you took the magnet out, they could be a bit challenging, but they were a bit slow because they were a bit heavy. But actually, if you put different tyres on, if you put NSR tyres, ironically, on the back of a Carrera GT, it's pretty quick. So still a bit heavy. It's not quite sideways quick, but it's not far away.
I can hear the comment section erupting at that one. A Carrera can be pretty quick.
Horses for courses and all that sort of thing. And the great thing, the robustness, it's got to be said. The way if you ever open up a Carrera car, you wonder, why is there so much wire in this car?
What is all this plastic for? Look at the chassis. The new camper vans, I call them, the Type 2 Volkswagen buses. The chassis on the thing, it's like this giant slab, and that's going to be very solid plastic.
Well, I think whereas most slot cars, if they deslot when you're carpet racing, the car is at risk when it hits the skirting board. If it's a Carrera, then your house may be at risk. So, and that's no bad thing. Kids crash cars, adults crash cars. The modelling, the finish of the car, the shapes of the cars, the finish of the cars, I think is great. And only yesterday we saw those pictures of the new Ferrari and the new 911 GT3. They look absolutely exquisite, lovely models of the car, and I'm sure the decoration will be done beautifully. Maybe a little bit too shiny. I know you're not fond of black shiny bits. You want them to be matte, but that aside, I think they're great. So NSR, from my point of view, they because I don't really race much, as you know, and when I do, I don't race terribly successfully. So it's it would make no difference. I'd probably come the same in a race if I had a Carrera or an NSR, to be truthful. It wouldn't make much difference. I've got a few of them second hand. It must because I was curious. What are they like? They're very nice. They're sort of scale auto, maybe a bit slotted-ish. They're all kind of the same thing, aren't they? They're more go faster and a little bit modelish.
This is going all out for the comments, isn't it? It's just scale auto, sort of the same. It's just.
Just a sort of, is that like Barcelona versus Benfica or something? Is that where we're put this? So I think as we push towards the final whistle, I thought this was going to be a tough one, but because I thought you were going to sing the praises of NSR and have a hard time finding anything positive to say about Carrera. But I'm going for Carrera. What do you say?
This is a tricky one, Scott. It's a tricky one. I don't own many Carreras by choice. Those I do. But then again, I can say the same about NSR.
Well, I'd hope you could say the same about everything. I mean, by choice. It's not you own them by accident.
Yeah, true. Yeah, NSRs I've bought for racing, and I'm not proud of myself for doing so. Carreras I've bought because I can make something of them. And they're subjects that interest me. I'm going to have to go with. We're going German. Germanic. We're going Germanic. Austrian.
Excellent. That has delighted me. But it sets up a tough quarter final, because that means Carrera go through to face Slot at Polycar.
Good luck.
They get
Viel Glück.
Okay, so that's it. So Carrera go through, and the competition goes on. The next game is going to be an interesting one. It's Skelectric, as in British Skelectric, versus Team Slot.
Ooh.
Do. So that will be appearing soon on a podcast provider near you. As we just mentioned, it's on YouTube. We'll post the result on the Facebook page, etc. If you want to comment, we'd love to hear from you. Thanks for listening.